right, we're going to open 2022 spring drills. Up for questions. Front row left, Dave Biddle, 24/7 Sports.
Hi, Brian. Offensively, what's the biggest thing that you're curious about this spring? Is it finding a solidified five on your offensive line, or is it something else? What are you most curious about offensively?
I mean, everybody's out there working and trying to improve. Like you said, finding that chemistry up front. It isn't just finding five. You want to find 6 or 7 guys that you can play, because things happen just like last year. Certainly, tight end is something that's of a concern for us, just because there's not a lot of experience there. Mitch is not practicing this spring, but he'll be back in the preseason, and that'll be good to have a veteran presence there. I think he's going to hopefully have a big impact on our offense. But replacing Ruck will be important, because we have some young guys that just haven't played a ton. But looking to see what G. Scott can do is he's put a year in, and some of the young guys are going to have to step up. So the running back position, obviously Trey played last year, Mayan played last year. It'll be good to see Evan Pryor. He had a really good offseason, so looking forward to see him. A receiver, seeing some of these younger guys get out there. Obviously in the Rose Bowl we had some guys who stepped up, but trying to figure out what the depth looks like there. All these guys are going to play, and then watching the quarterbacks play, and just improve and learn and get more and more reps under their belt.
I want to ask you about Todd Fish real quick too. Coming back, his second year as an offensive analyst, he's got such a good resume. He's an offensive coordinator, many years. Just how much does he help you on that side of the ball?
I've known Todd for a long time, so his presence and his experience and friendship, quite honestly, means a lot to me. Helps in a lot of ways. Just another guy in the building that really helps in a lot of ways. Helps with the other coaches. Very good coach with a great background, and he's a huge asset for us.
Front row right, Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Ryan, speaking of wide receivers, the 5 team in 2019, basically the 2 especially here, and obviously Jackson. Obviously he's back this year, but outside of him, are there other guys you feel comfortable with? How many do you feel like you can play?
Yeah, we've typically played 5 or 6, like when you think back on when Terry was here, and Paris, and Ben, Austin, KJ Hill, Johnny Dixon. We've typically rolled a lot of guys, and so we'd like to do that. And really what you do is you try to find 1, then you try to find 2, then you try to find 3, and then you try to find 4. And as many guys that deserve to get on the field and get reps are going to get reps, and we typically like to roll those guys if we can, but they have to get out there and earn that work. We have some really intelligent guys out there. I watched Cam Babb work out there, and he's learned a bunch of different positions. Same thing with Emeka. Julian's learned a bunch of different positions, so it's good that there's some versatility there. And we do have some decent depth out there. Some guys, even Xavier Johnson, Sam Wiglis, looking to see what Jalen Ballard can do. So some interesting guys this spring, and they're certainly going to get an opportunity to compete and just build. But this is just the start, and the way we look at it is, these 15 practices lead into preseason, and then preseason number 1 is that 16th practice, and they just keep building that body of work. So good start, but excited to go. We're going 2 days here, then we go on spring break. And these 2 practices are a little bit more of an OTA style, and then when we come back off a break, then we start to dig into the practices. And so, but this is a great week for our guys on defense to kind of dig into that, to the O-line to start to learn about some of the new techniques and ways that Coach Fry is going to be coaching those guys. So it's been a good week, but across the board, guys are going to get a lot of reps and look to improve, and the wide receiver position is certainly one of them.
It felt like Jaden, there was a bit more of a developmental curve in comparison to what Emeka and Marvin were when they got there. Have you seen that over the past year?
He just got one of the most improved awards in the offseason with Coach Marati and his strength and conditioning staff during our Champions lunch yesterday. He was recognized in that area just for his work every day, his accountability, and just physically his physical games. And so that's huge for him, and he's somebody that could provide a huge boost to our offense, because he does have the ability. So now it's time to go put it on the field. He's put a lot of work in these last 7 weeks.
Right next door, Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, it looked like Kate Stover was practicing with American State. Is that going to be his
there could be. I think he's trying to figure out how he may fit into the scheme, and we've gone back and forth on that. He may come over to tight end and do a little bit of work there. as we go. I think he's trying to figure that out still. You know, which side he wants to play. He certainly, I think, is wired to play defense. If you asked him what he'd like to do, it is defense. But he also wants to have a major impact on the team. And if it's on defense, then great. But I've always felt like, you know, you want to allow the opportunity for guys to choose where they want to play, because that's when they put their whole heart into something. Like Steele Chambers made that move. That was his decision. And so I think he could be a tremendous tight end. I think he really put a lot of work in over the last year, and it's going to be up to him kind of what he feels most comfortable doing moving forward.
Is there a timeline you want to take?
No, probably wouldn't put a deadline on it. You know, even he played all year at tight end, and then the Rose Bowl played linebacker. So he's very, very talented. Had an unbelievable offseason. Was an Iron Buckeye for us in the Champions meeting yesterday. And you know, he's one way or another, he's going to have an impact on this team.
Josh Proctorson, he relied on last year. He's sure where is he at with his recovery and sort of the prognosis of this spring?
Yeah, so he's going to start working his way back into some drills as we get back off of spring break. And I don't know if he'll be full by the end of spring, but he's working through his rehab, and we're looking forward to getting him back into some drills as we, you know, push in through the middle of spring.
Over here to the far right, Austin Ward, Letterman Rowe.
With guys like Josh or Cam Brown, what's the balance between being fully healthy and learning a new season?
That's what you hope for with somebody who's played a decent amount of experience. Both those guys have played in games now, so we're going to make sure that we always are on the side of getting them healthy. And you know, there's still body reps, there's walkthroughs, there's meetings, there's opportunities for them to learn that way. And then there's all the whole preseason where we have, you know, a bunch of time to get going in that area. So we'd love to get them on the field, but we're going to make sure that they're healthy before we do that.
Look at CJ Stroud and going into UT. It's still pretty rare for you to have a second-year starting quarterback. Justin's was marked by some other stuff. What do you think he can get out of this that maybe you haven't got to give another quarterback?
I think you just understand the, you know, at this point last year he hadn't thrown a college pass, so now he's got a whole year under his belt, and then you're kind of learning what to do, and now you kind of learn why you do it, and just a little bit more of a deeper understanding of things. There's a little bit of a Rolodex of plays under his belt. You know, we're going to look at some new concepts too, some things that he can handle, and maybe put a little more on his plate on the line of scrimmage and different things there. So, you know, when you think about guys who played in the NFL for 15, 20 years at quarterback, you know, this is just year two, and it feels great. You feel like you have a guy who's been around for a long time, and certainly here, you know, we've only had that one other time with Justin. So it is exciting going into the season, having somebody who's played a whole year under his belt.
Second row left aisle, Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Ryan, staying with quarterbacks, obviously Kyle played some last year, but I imagine you still want to see more from him, and then you have Devin coming in for the first time. How do you kind of handle the backup job there to be ready in case you need one of those guys?
Well, I was impressed with how Kyle came in today. I thought he had a good 7-on-7. He had a good approach, and you know, kind of picked up from where he left off in the Rose Bowl practice, which was great. And then Devin, you know, first day out here, again, I thought he handled it pretty good as well. You know, for first day, there's a lot going on that first day. You're doing everything for the first time. So, you know, the more reps that we can get these guys, the better they're going to be.
And you finally have, like, returning CJ, but you have a backup who's played, unlike last year where it was, you know, maybe some scholarship guys or non-scholarship guys that had seen some action elsewhere, but to have that luxury that you know you have a guy who can step in, who's been on the field, what does that mean as you head forward here?
Well, we haven't had that, right? We haven't had guys, we haven't had a starter who had any experience going into last year. So to have somebody who's actually been on the field and played in games and has a whole year under his belt, that's a big deal, because you can't substitute experience. And you know, just being through a whole year, you know, should pay dividends, and that should be, you know, something that, you know, we can use to our advantage. And you know, I think Kyle's had a good off season, so if he can kind of continue to grow as the spring goes on, that's huge for us.
Far left, Bill Landis, The Athletic.
Jerry Fuller's not removed from the Raiders. He's missed a lot of time in the last year. Is he able to do anything right now? What is his forecast in terms of his ability to get back to the first week?
Yeah, we have, I guess, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 guys that are unavailable this spring for different reasons, and we kind of keep it at the unavailability list. And there's different reasons for everybody, but you know, and then once we get done with the spring, we'll kind of reevaluate everybody in that area.
Over here to the far right,